Donald Trump's over at the UN, and he's really telling them off, as only Donald Trump can. This stuff is great. I have so much good sound to play you because it is hysterical. Okay, so first of all, we got a few little tech issues going on. What's that about? I mean, did you see the escalator just stopping? I want to show you this here. The escalator just gave out. Okay.
What is your message in light of the Palestinian
Do you see that? Okay, so they're approaching. They're getting close to the escalator. They're approaching, and then all of a sudden, dun-dun-dun, it stops. Totally stops. There's the President Melania, so they climb up. Well, that's a little peculiar, don't you think? I mean, so, okay, whatever. The escalator had a problem. But then there's another problem. We just put this one in my shorts feed. The teleprompter was busted. We got some issues going on at the UN. I mean, first the escalator, now the teleprompter.
I don't mind making the speech without a teleprompter.
He doesn't need one.
Because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless. And that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
You better believe it. Yep. Big trouble. I mean, is it a coincidence? Oddly, the Director of Homeland Security came out with something on Twitter today. He posted saying that they had actually found that there was an attempt to try and take down the cell phone networks around the UN, and they thwarted that a while back, and they wanted everybody to know they were safe, etc. But what was the attempt to take down the communication? And I'm like, okay, well, so they weren't able to do that. So they decided to have the teleprompter go out and the escalator go out. Come on, is that petty or what? It could just be a coincidence, let's say. We'll go with that. Anyway, he had a very pointed message for all those Europeans all into their NATO thing. He's like, careful. Quite a warning. Let's listen in.
Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained.
So he was pretty direct, pretty pointed. And again, he's talking about the sort of open entry that they've had from so many people in the Middle East coming into parts of Europe and not really adhering to the cultural norms of Europe. I've reported on this in the past. For example, in Germany, where they did, under Angela Merkel, they welcomed all of these Syrians in as refugees. The problem was they had no way of integrating them into society. So they couldn't write German, they couldn't speak German, and they had a set of customs that was extraordinarily different from any that the Germans were used to, including, this one always got me, I guess, as a woman, the swimming pools. So there's a tradition in Germany that everybody goes to the swimming pool. It's like the YMCA, right? You go to the pool, you swim together, and they suddenly had to start changing that after putting up signage everywhere saying you can't grab women, you can't grab their swimsuits, that you actually couldn't defecate in the pool. I mean, wild, right? But they were trying to teach them on this etiquette, and it wasn't working. So ultimately, what many of these pools in these local communities did was they decided they would have separate hours for swimming when it would be women or men, so that you wouldn't have women and men swimming together. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm sorry, but like, why are you changing your culture for them? They are the guest, to go back to what Arnold Schwarzenegger told Joy Behar, and she nearly fell off her seat. You're the guest, right? So you have to adhere to their customs. If it's just, it is what it is. And so Germany shouldn't be changing themselves. London should not have to change themselves. You have a group of people that have already been there. If you're coming in, you would think that you want to, what is that expression that we used to talk about in grade school? The melting pot, right? Not the salad bowl, the melting pot. We've got to all sort of be one here together. He reiterated this point and said, listen, we're not going to be part of this at the U.S. We're not going to partake in, promoting these NGOs that are going to promote these immigration standards, which we don't think are healthy for us or healthy for Europe. Watch.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net.
He's not going to have it. I mean, this is entirely what he ran on. And by the way, this is actually what is seeing him successful. I mean, you look at all the poll numbers, and I realize, somebody, he's not doing as well. I beg to differ, because when you look at the GOP as a whole, who do Americans trust when it comes to the issue of the economy? Guess what? By like a 7-point advantage, the GOP. When it comes to issues of immigration, you got like a 13-point advantage there. Again, GOP. When it comes to law and order, again, GOP. I mean, this is pretty consistent. And so I think there's lots of changes coming. These NGOs that would funnel money to organizations that might not be in our interest, those days are over, as Marco Rubio outlined to one Georgie Poo. I like to call him Georgie Poo. George Stephanopoulos. Did I say it right? He's little Georgie, because whenever I'd go on the set, and believe me, I used to go on ABC Good Morning America. They tried to hire me at one point, but I went to Bloomberg, and I go on the set, and I'm like, come on, can I put my chair up a little, please? Like down here, like at the kids' table, and Georgie would be up here. But in real life, I'm 5'7", plus good set of heels. Georgie's like up to here in real life. Anyway, it's TV. It's TV, baby. He gets to make his guests sit on the little kid's chair. Here he is, Marco, schooling him. Watch.
We shut down AID because it was a dysfunctional organization. We moved it under the State Department. Number two, we are going to do more foreign aid than any country in the world. We're going to do more than anyone in the world again this year. But we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it holistically. We're going to do it as part of an integrated foreign policy. We are not going to fund an NGO industrial complex that built itself up, that was taking a substantial percentage of the money and not going directly to the recipients. It was going to these organizations that had multi-billion-dollar projects and budgets. We're not going to continue to do it that way. We are going to provide aid. We're providing aid now. We just rolled out our new initiative on health. It's going to be much more successful and much more effective. We're going to enter into direct compacts with the countries. We're going to empower our embassies and our ambassadors to direct which projects we fund and how much money countries are going to be receiving. So we are restructuring the way we do aid. It's going to be far more effective, and it's going to be integrated into our holistic foreign policy.
That's all in the future. But are you standing by that comment? You're saying that no one has died?
No, it's happening now. That's not in the future.
No one has died
now.
because of the aid cuts? Are all those aid organizations
That's
lying?
ridiculous. Well, first of all, then they died because England didn't give enough money, or Canada didn't give more, or China did. Let's blame the other countries that don't do any foreign aid. How about China? I mean, China's the second largest economy in the world. They don't give money to these
projects. So you're
projects.
no longer disputing that the aid cuts have cost people's lives. You're no longer disputing that.
It didn't. I think anybody who tells you that somehow it's the United States, if we cut $1, somehow we're responsible for some horrific thing that's going on in the world is just not true. Beyond that, I would say that in some of these places
that
they
dollar's
cite,
not going
the reason
to
why the
feeding
aid
someone
didn't
a
get
medicine,
there,
someone's going to die, aren't
one of the
they?
reasons why some of these places didn't get the aid is not because we cut the aid. It's because there's a war going on and the aid never got to the people. So in Sudan, for example, it's not just a humanitarian catastrophe, it's a war zone. Okay, the aid is stolen, the aid is impeded. In fact, they use aid as a tool against the people, and so blocking aid as a tool.
You understand money is fungible, right? So you can say, okay, we're giving aid money, and then the people in charge, they take that money and they don't send it to the people. They don't get them food. They don't get them aid. They actually use it to buy more weapons. So that's where it becomes very nuanced and very challenging, and you've got to be smart about that, which this team is. This team really and truly is. Donald Trump also addressing the climate issue head on. He said, and I quote, Europe reduced its carbon footprint by 37%. Congratulations, Europe. Great job. You cost yourself a lot of jobs and factories, but you reduced your carbon footprint. And so, I think he's just sort of saying enough is enough. All that sacrifice has been totally wiped out, and then some, by a global increase in carbon of 54%. So again, the point being, if you don't have everyone on board and you don't have commitments from the likes of India and China, then how are you really going to get these things done? Finally, somebody with a little bit of common sense. I know it's not always politically correct to hear. I know it freaks some people out sometimes, but listen, if there are things that must be said, must be said. And one of those things that must be said is Jimmy Kimmel is going to fail. And Bob Iger is going to be losing his job. It's only a matter of time. Shareholders can only take so much. The media world is changing. Disney hasn't figured out how to get on board. Their streaming situation is a mess. Their content is not watchable. And their parks are painful. All right. So it's a great brand. I'd love to see it continue. I want to get back to the days when I actually liked Disney. It's going to take a lot to get there. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Make a comment in the comments below. It all helps the algorithm. Believe me. And I'll see you right here, back here live tomorrow.